Welcome to the active board. Did you know that you can easily show your feelings or opinions about something just by the choice of words in a sentence? Yeah, that's the power of language, and this is something we are going to discuss. Think about the word sprawl. I know it's not the easiest one, but if you do know the word, think about its connotation. So if you have a look at that word, does it sound positive, negative, or neutral to you? To help you out, have a look at the sentence. A city continued to sprawl into the countryside, causing a lot of damage to natural habitats. Yes, doesn't sound too good, and that's because the verb to sprawl has a negative connotation. It means to spread out in that messy, uncontrolled way. It can also be used when you talk about a person sitting on a couch, but today we'll just focus on the meaning of a city growing too fast and in that unplanned way. Beyond its meaning, its regular meaning that I've just explained, we can also read between the lines. So it means chaos, it means lack of control, and sometimes even damage. And this is where a connotation comes in. So what exactly is a connotation? A connotation is the feeling or idea that a word shows beyond its literal meaning. And they can be positive, negative, or neutral ones. And sometimes even it's not as that straightforward because context plays a vital role here. I'll explain that later. But first, why is this important? It is important, especially if you want to approach some exams in the future, because don't forget that you deal with many different reading or listening tasks, and very often you need to decode the author's attitude to an issue or a problem discussed. Sometimes it's just very important, especially for you and your choice of words. If you want to convey something more, like you want to show your attitude to something, and it actually helps you understand your speaker better, and it helps you really understand what a person means. Let's have a look at the next one. To rejuvenate. And the sentence, a walk in the forest rejuvenated my mind and my body. It has got similar meaning to improve, but it sounds more powerful and more positive. Hence, the meaning is positive. The connotation of that verb is super positive, and to rejuvenate means to be born again, to feel young, fresh, and full of energy again. So very often, maybe when you have some cosmetics or face masks, notice that sometimes you can find the word rejuvenating. That's why we buy them. We hope to rejuvenate our faces. Have another one. To flee. The villagers were forced to flee their homes during the conflict. Well, think about it for a second. Does the verb to flee have a positive or a negative connotation? Well, it doesn't just mean to leave or to go away. That's its regular meaning. But beyond this meaning, we can have some extra information. The connotation is negative because it means to escape, to be frightened, to panic. Now it's your turn. Try to establish the connotation of the given words and try to mark it with the appropriate color of the dot, and red being a negative connotation, green being positive, and white neutral. Good luck! The first group has the following words: populous, cramped and overcrowded. Have a look at also at the sentences. They'll help you establish the connotation. You can pause or you can keep the video going. Populous is neutral / slightly negative, because populous is a fact that the area is densely populated. However, sometimes it might hint at too many people and overcrowded area, and we're gonna mark it as negative, slightly negative, but generally speaking, that is a fact that the place is populous. Cramped always implies discomfort, some level of discomfort due to lack of space. We can talk about a cramped room, we can talk about cramped places, and that is a negative. It has a negative connotation and is connected with that discomfort, that the place is very tight and makes you feel really uncomfortable. And overcrowded is always negative. Overcrowded area means that it has got too many people or things in one space, and you dislike it, and also you do not feel okay with that. Well, we can talk about overcrowded bus, yeah, it makes you hard to breathe. Or we can talk about overcrowded school, overcrowded corridor with too many people. In the next group, we've got growth, expansion, and sprawl. Again, you can pause the video, have a look at the sentences. And let's start from the bottom one, because this one has been already explained. Sprawl has a negative connotation. This is this uncontrolled, messy, untidy way of cities growing. We can talk about urban sprawl, like for example, cities growing. So we're gonna mark it with the red dot, like negative meaning, like with growth and expansion. It's not as that easy. Like generally speaking, growth means to increase, and I'll mark it with neutral because usually it is neutral. However, / variable. Variable means that the connotation is going to vary depending on the context, because when we talk about personal growth, yes, that's positive, it's a kind of improvement. But whenever we are going to talk, for example, about tumor growth, that's going to have negative connotation, and that's why we're going to mark it with variable. The same as expansion. Expansion means spreading or increasing in size. But again, military expansion is going to be something negative, and expansion of horizons or business expansion is going to mark something positive. That's why neutral / variable. In the next group, we are going to have struggle, strive, and endeavor. Endeavor might be something tough, but have a look at the context and it's way easier. Struggle is always negative. We can talk about a daily struggle, so that fight or trying to achieve something, fighting problems, fighting obstacles, and we mark it with negative connotations. When we talk about strive, strive has a positive connotation, the same like endeavor. You strive for success. You strive to improve. So you try hard to achieve something good. And endeavor has very similar meaning. However, endeavor is more formal, and that's also try hard, put effort to achieve something meaningful. Yes, that's all for that active word. Try to look in depth into the words that you're using. Or while speaking, that might not be easy, probably you need to do many different things when you speak. You think about the words, you start to think about the grammar and about fluency, because you want to be also fluent. But if you study and if you have your regular practices of studying, please check out the mood of a word, its connotation. Try to mark it with what does it sound to you? More positive, more negative, and believe me, you gonna become great listener and great speaker, certainly more conscious. See you next time. Watch a non-native.